Hello.
Welcome to the afternoon program on Channel 11. We have with us today the British revolutionary scientist Charles Darwin, born February 12, 1809, to discuss his life success and publications. He is best known for his contributions to evolutionary theory and his book On the Origin of Species, published in 1859, that created a stir during Victorian times. Charles, how did you become interested in science and natural history?
Being a naturalist, it's always been an instinct of mine to travel and explore the world, despite my father's wishes to be a parson. That's why I was sent to Christ's College at Cambridge in 1828. I've collected beetles ever since Cambridge, and collecting became my major hobby. I used to take long solitary walks in order to get out of our disease-filled house. Everyone was always sick with either scarlet fever or something else. I guess that's where my interest in nature began. My mom made me change the color of flowers by giving them water mixed with food color. Plus, I liked to hang out in the gardens of my house and developed an interest in the variability of the plants. I didn't really have many friends, and the natural world was always there, so it essentially became my sole companion. I was introduced to John Stevens Henslow at Cambridge, a cleric botanist and my biology professor. His mentorship really made me want to pursue science, for his lectures were fascinating, and he invested a lot of time outside of school to help nurture my interest in botany, geology, and chemistry.
Tell us a little bit about your family. How were you raised?
Well, I am the fifth child out of 6 in a family born from a financier and a wealthy doctor. Religiously, my dad's side of the family was Unitarian, Protestants who didn't believe that Jesus is a God figure, while my mom's side was strongly Anglican, which is why I attended Anglican Shrewsbury School as a child around 1818, where we were pretty religiously devoted. After my mom died of stomach cancer when I was 8, my dad was always off at work, a doctor and all. That kind of stuff started our rocky relationship. I constantly disappointed my father, first by neglecting my medical studies at Edinburgh, then by not qualifying for my bachelor's degree. But I took ordinary classes for an ordinary degree and graduated 10th in my class.
Did you have an easy childhood?
Well, I was born into a gentry family, so money was never an issue, though I was forced to learn proper etiquette. Still, my family was pretty liberal for the time. I had a lot of leisure time in which my father took me hiking in northern Wales over the summers. I hated the schools my dad made me go to, where I had to learn the classics, Greek and ancient history. I was a slow learner and was not inspired by my schooling. I did read quite a lot of Shakespeare, poems of Byron, Scott, Thomson, and the Odes of Horace. I loved Gilbert White's book, The Natural History of Selborne, published in 1789, which taught me to appreciate richness and beauty of birds, insects, and other creatures, so much, in fact, that I started my own field notebook on his observations of birds. It also made me develop the habit of making very close observations in nature. While I loved his book, my favorite book was Wonders of the World, which made me want to explore exotic foreign lands. I also learned taxidermy from a freed black slave, John Edmonston.
Who are some of your influences?
I would say some of my major influences were probably Aristotle, Carolus Linnaeus, Georges Cuvier, and Charles Lyell. Aristotle saw species to be fixed and unchanging, but also concluded that life was arranged on a ladder of increasing complexity. Carolus Linnaeus founded taxonomy, the naming of and classifying of organisms, and developed the binomial system of naming organisms, with genesis and species. Georges Cuvier, who developed paleontology, the study of fossils, provided some of the basis of my ideas. He noticed that the older the stratina, rock layer, the less similar the organisms were for modern times. Charles Lyell took this idea of gradualism, the idea that change took place cumulatively and gradually, and created the idea of uniformitarianism, the idea that the same geologic processes take place today as they did in the past.
So, Mr. Darwin, tell us about your trip to the Galapagos Islands.
Well, in 1931, I joined an expedition on the HMS Beagle with Robert Fitzroy, the captain. And while on the Beagle, I read Lyell's Principles of Geology, which suggested that fossils in rocks were evidence of animals living millions of years ago. I took interest in this subject matter and began to divulge deeper into the mystery of our existence. When I got to the islands, I discovered that the difference in beak structure of the finches was due to the specific foods available to the home islands of the birds. So it depended on their habitat changing based on the circumstances presented from Mother Teresa. This idea led me to my natural selection idea.
How exactly does natural selection work? What are your main ideas on the origin of species?
First of all, for all species, population sizes would increase exponentially if all individuals reproduce successfully. Second, populations tend to remain stable in size. Third, resources are limited. Fourth, members of a population vary in their characteristics. And finally, most variation is hereditary. Natural selection is the struggle for existence, a battle of the fittest. Natural selection does not create new traits. It can only amplify or diminish the number of them. It is similar to artificial selection, the breeding of individuals that possess the desired traits. Artificial selection can accomplish a relatively large amount of change in a short span of time, so natural selection should be able to produce a moderate amount of change over generations.
You seem to be a firm believer in science, Darwin. Do you not believe that the world was created in 7 days by God Almighty?
Well, I believe in a creator, but I'm unsure whether or not he created all beings as they are today. Belief in God, religion. There is no evidence that man was aboriginally endowed with the ennobling belief in the existence of an omnipotent God. On the contrary, there is ample evidence, derived not from hasty travelers, but from men who have long resided with savages, that numerous races have existed and still exist, who have no idea of one or more gods, and who have no words in their languages to express such an idea. However, I do believe in a great power, but I also believe in the reality of natural selection and evolution.
Some feelings of anxiety and confusion definitely arose after your work. What is your opinion on that?
Yes, definitely. There was a sudden crisis of faith in which many questioned Christianity and Victorian beliefs in 1859. Natural selection and evolution are the only reason humanity has ever survived for so long.
We are now going to show you a commercial that shows how your work affected societal thought.
Hello, I'm Francis from A&F Pears, grandson of Andrew Pears. I want to introduce you to a new product, Pears Soap, capable of scrubbing away all the scum of the earth and revealing a radiance of pure white skin. It's easy. All you need to do is scrub, 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 so all the black is off. It's key to liberating ourselves from the white man's burden. Grab the nearest person of color and scrub away.
What the f***? You know, I was surprised, actually. It's far from my original belief of evolution and natural selection. I am the grandson of two prominent abolitionists, Erasmus Darwin and Josiah Wedgwood. But that's just the way Europe is, especially my home country, England. We're imperialists, we're changing, we're conquering, and that is why these ideas spread so viciously and rapidly along with the spread of the empires. It justifies the need for colonization, the idea that blacks are inferior and need to be contained, if not eliminated, from the gene pool. Considering the small size of these islands, we feel more astonished at the number of their aboriginal beings, and at their confined range. Within a period geologically recent, the unbroken ocean was here spread out. Hence, both in space and time, we seem to be brought somewhat near to that great fact, that mystery of mysteries, the first appearance of new beings on this earth.
Let's bring Emma Darwin, wife of Charles. So, Emma, what's life like at home with Charles?
I rarely see him. He's always doing his work, but we do bond over science, and I help him when he's ill. Our marriage was common for the Victorian era. I married him for love and companionship, not just money and his high social status. However, we have a mutual respect, and he appreciates my input, and I'm allowed to disagree with him, unlike many of our friends.
Impressive. How did you influence and challenge his ideas?
Well, I disagreed with them, and Charles didn't tell me at first because he knew it would cause me conflict with my faith. But he also didn't want to publish them because they challenged the Victorian values of the time and the Christian beliefs. Charles dreaded the controversy they would generate. It was at odds with the dominant belief at the time that God created all species in their present form and not that they had evolved through natural selection.
And how do you think his ideas affected the Victorian way of thinking?
We Victorians are so self-conscious about our values that when a work that scientifically challenges them emerges, we go into an era of mental ambivalence and confusion. People suddenly felt alone because they doubted the truth behind their religion. People whose lives became immediately effective and totally uprooted actually felt the need to find a new system on which to base their values and morality. Unable to completely lose faith, they combined both their religious beliefs with individual duty. Duty to one's God, fellow man, social class, neighbor, the poor, and the ill.
Damn it, you have to download.
We're on the set of,
Trying to get a.
what is this? 19th century
Ellen.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Why are you doing that now?
There's Gatita and
Because I'm gonna be like, what the hell?
Hey, see.
That's the beat noise.
Sometimes.
Now do it on yourself.
It's an ad.
Do it. Wow, he let you have an
Wait!
impressive. How did you
Wait.
influence? Impressive. How did
Alyssa, you're starting too fast.
you? Firm believer in science.
Wait,
Darwin.
hold on. It
Wait,
started.
put that in front of your face.
Charles, how do you take an interest in science?
Oh, it's you! Sorry.
Can I just start?
Are you recording it? We can put that in the pooper.
Very tasty. Very. Ew.
Wait, we're not.
That bug is huge.
Really, Joe? Really?
Out at the Galapagos.
Galapagos?
Galapagos locals.
Oh, I just like this.
Okay, and then like look at me and I'll be like shaking my head.
No, you're not, Danny. This is very zoomed in. Oh, face.
Good. Do you want me to get more chips for you guys?
Hide.
What's going on? Can I get more chips? Can I get more chips for you?
Warm water.
Why? Do you need?
Do I get over my beard again?
No, you don't. You're a kid.
Am I even in this?
And then Joe would be like, "Wow."
Ew, Joe.
Joe, I'm 8.
It's like, why?
We're just doing the interview.
Was yesterday Saturday?
I bought my own shirt
No,
just in case
I mean,
I
the day before yesterday?